One Zambia, One Nation. Thanks for joining us on ZANIS News. To present, my name is Juliet Mutale. Top stories in the news tonight. President Hichilema attends burial of Senseli miners. Government commences process to reform education curriculum. Youths concerned about increased climate change. Plus, Chewers call for protection of Gulewamkulu. ZANIS News in detail. 9 bodies of the small-scale miners who died at Senseli mine accident in Chingola town on the Copperbelt province have been buried at Chingola Cemetery. President Hakainde Hichilema was among the hundreds of mourners that attended the burial. Here are the details.
It was an emotional moment as families for the small-scale miners who lost their lives in the mine accident at Senseli mine in Chingola on the Copper Belt gathered to pay their last respect to their beloved ones. 9 miners who have been put to rest today are among the 12 people that the rescue team retrieved since the search began 11 days ago. President Hakainde Hichilema attended the burial for the small-scale miners at Chingola Central Cemetery.
We will continue searching for those that are still underground there, because those are our members of the family. We will continue doing what we are supposed to do, what they could have done if we were the ones underground there. They will continue working to find us, and we will continue doing that as much as is possible. We will do that with due care, with due responsibility to make sure that the young men and the military people, the miners, KCM and others, all the specialists that have been assembled there, as they go down there, we don't lose lives again. We will ensure that we are careful, we are coordinated, we work as a team, and ensure risk areas are assessed properly so we don't lose lives.
The president told the mourners that death is always a mystery and every person has a way to leave this earth.
For these many colleagues we put to rest today, this is the way God wanted them to go, and that's how they've gone. We also want to thank God for giving us the courage to believe in Him, to continue worshiping Him, for allowing so far in the rescue efforts one person coming alive, so he can tell the story. Once he recovers fully, he can tell us the full story. Those are God's wonders.
Copper Belt Minister Elisha Matambo comforted the mourners.
But God never gave us the spirit of fear. He gave us the spirit of love, power, and sound mind. We will never be cowards. We will stand and we'll move and we'll move and move as Copper Belt together with the families. Abantu abalukushya abantu besu. Ekyo kimbe kyonjeko okutotera ba president finto ama families bakisire cooperate na government. Dipanshi ya makasa mwe balukushya batemwikwa ama brothers besu. Mwe ma families efe mwatulango kuombera pamona government n'okutemwa efe ba president baleiso kuombera pamo n'okukanya ifirwani.
Chingola Member of Parliament Chipoka Mulenga assured the mourners of government's help.
Even
when we have buried, the funeral has not ended. I will continue passing through the houses to help the family members with food, and each family member will be given 10,000 kwacha to help themselves. Mines and Minerals Development Minister Paul Kauswe assured the people whose family members are still trapped.
Awe tuletotela palichi bakateka na tupito mwatapata ababantu baleli apa na bailanga bukala pashi.
The people were burying here today worked so hard, for they did not want to steal from anybody, but they wanted to help their family members, and from them, we have learned something in life. The death of the small-scale miners have broken the hearts of family members who depended on them for help and their welfare. Even when some have been buried, the search for the remaining trapped miners who died when rainwater filled the tunnels they were in continues. Tauvini Ngombe, ZANIS, Chingola.
Meanwhile, President Hakainde Hichilema says government is committed to promoting human rights and the rule of law in the country in order for democracy to thrive. Mr. Hichilema says government will not abuse the rights of its citizens, but will endeavor to promote them for good of everybody. He explained that government is resolved to ensure that the police and other institutions of governance abide by the human rights agenda. President Hichilema said this in a speech read for him by Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwimbu, during the 2023 commemoration of Human Rights Day in Lusaka today. Mr. Hichilema stated that government, through the Ministry of Justice, has announced a three-phased approach to review the Constitution to remove lacunas. And the President has also urged the Human Rights Commission to intensify sensitization on the public on what human rights and freedoms are. Earlier, Human Rights Commission Chairperson Pamela Sambo commended government for its continuous commitment to review the Human Rights Commission Act. Meanwhile, the European Union, EU, has reaffirmed its role to ensure government's respect of human rights and promotion of democracy. EU Ambassador to Zambia and COMESA Carolina Stasiak explained that the EU has continued to work with partners and governments to end human rights abuse.
We want to serve the people better and enhance the protection of individual and collective human rights. We have initiated a process of reviewing various pieces of legislation. For instance, the Access to Information Bill is now at the National Assembly for enactment. You are all aware that the bill had been on the drawing board for the past 20 years without success. We have worked on it. The Ministry of Justice is also actively considering the long-standing need to enacting a comprehensive law that criminalizes torture and other forms of cruel and inhuman treatment. Ladies and gentlemen, the process of drafting the Public Gathering Bill, which seeks to repeal and replace the Public Order Act, is progressing well. In due course, the bill will also be tabled before the National Assembly. We, however, appeal for responsibility in the enjoyment of fundamental rights and freedoms. Fundamental human rights and freedoms are not unlimited. They remain subject to public order, national security, and the rights and reputations of others. I appeal to the youth that do not be used to perpetuate criminal activities. As the new Dawn administration, we have restored the democratic space after putting a stop to violent cadreism. I urge the Human Rights Commission to step up sensitization on human rights in order to promote a common understanding as envisioned by the UDHR. It is important for the Human Rights Commission to have sustained public education on what rights and freedoms are.
Guest of honor, we acknowledge government's commitment to the human rights cause, which is also being demonstrated by government's leadership and commitment to the review process of the Human Rights Commission Act, which is aimed at empowering the Commission towards achieving its constitutional mandate. It is our hope and prayer that this political will and commitment will be enhanced and sustained beyond this commemoration. Guest of honor, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that almost all of the United Nations member countries are commemorating the International Human Rights Day is a testimony that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has indeed served its founding objective, being a common standard of achievement for all people and nations.
Promoting universal respect for human rights is also a key priority of the external action of the European Union and its member states across borders and cultural contexts. We continue working closely with partners across the globe to condemn human rights violations and abuses, breaches of international humanitarian law, discrimination, shrinking civic space, and attacks on democracy and media freedom wherever they occur.
International news, Vice President Mutalena Lumango has pledged Zambia's unwavering commitment to the promotion and implementation of human rights and individual fundamental freedoms for all Zambians. The Vice President made the pledge in Geneva when she addressed hundreds of delegates attending the Human Rights 75 high-level event at the United Nations office in Switzerland today. The global event in Geneva has brought together more than 140 countries, several civil society organizations, human rights defenders, and multilateral organizations in one place to revitalize the defense for human rights in countries across the globe. Victor Mwila has the details.
Marking 3/4 of a century since the Declaration of Human Rights, the world has gathered in Geneva, Switzerland to commemorate 75 years since the adoption of the protection of individual freedoms. Vice President Mutalena Lumango is among several heads of delegations attending the human rights gathering at the UN office in Geneva.
There's nothing really new, but we are telling the continent, the global body, that this is the way we are moving to ensure that Zambians can enjoy to the full, as far as Zambian government is concerned and the people of Zambia, to the full, the human rights.
In her address to the delegates at the human rights event here, the Vice President pledged Zambia's commitment to ensuring that the country's laws align with the promotion and protection of human rights.
The Republic of Zambia recognizes the importance of ensuring the effective enjoyment of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all individuals. I am therefore delighted to make the following pledges on behalf of the Republic of Zambia and assure you all that Zambia remains committed to bring about concrete change towards the greater enjoyment of human rights for all. 1. Enact legislation on access to information. 2. Ratify the second optional protocol to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, aiming at the abolition of the death penalty. 3. Review the national policy on environment to enhance the promotion of sustainable use of the environment and natural resources in line with SDGs 13 and 15. And 4. Strengthen the national mechanism for implementation, reporting, and follow-up. I thank you.
Earlier, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, highlighted the progress societies have made over the past 75 years, but also acknowledged the distressing failures in upholding human rights.
This energy and vision on the part of communities across the world have nourished the immense creativity and resulting development that much of the world now enjoys. But alongside the progress that has transformed many of our societies, there have also been numerous failures to uphold human rights over the past 75 years. We live among such failures today, with the turmoil and suffering that they produce. War. My thoughts go to the millions of people suffering unbearably in the occupied Palestinian territory, notably Gaza and Israel, in Sudan, Ukraine, Myanmar, and so many other places.
The gathering in Geneva is a clarion call to hope and action and a reminder of the collective responsibility countries hold in safeguarding the fundamental rights of every individual. Victor Muila for ZANIS in Geneva, Switzerland.
Now, the 18th session of the Malawi-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security has opened at Sunbed Coppola Lodge in Mangochi, Malawi. Malawi's Secretary for Defense, who is also chairperson for the session, Erica Maganga, emphasized the importance of strengthening peace and security between the two countries. From Mangochi, ZANIS staffer Sifue Mangala reports.
The defense and security personnel for Malawi and Zambia have convened to address issues concerning peace and security for the two countries. The two nations are holding their 18th session of the Malawi-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security in Malawi. Elika Manganga is Malawi's Secretary for Defense and chairperson for the session.
The key is to discuss issues of peace and security for the two peoples of Malawi and Zambia. But also, there are a lot of issues that we're going to discuss as we'll be discussing these issues. Issues of human trafficking, issues of illicit trade, issues of border issues where at times you may have issues between the two peoples, and many other issues that border on defense and security of the two countries.
Zambia's Defense Permanent Secretary, Norman Chipakupaku, who is also the co-chairperson of the session, states that the main focus of the gathering is to review past resolutions made by the two countries regarding economic development and finding solutions to issues such as smuggling as well as human trafficking.
The focus of this 18th JPC really is to continue with our defense and security. The peace and stability which we have in the region between the two countries, we want it to continue. So we are here to try and cement that. As I was saying, we have never had any issue with Malawi. The second one is to build that relationship in terms of trade with Malawi, to secure our trade. And as I've said, on the security side, there's one thing which might worry us, this human trafficking which is going on, where we had people being trafficked through Malawi, through Zambia. We want to try and curb that and make sure that it's sorted out.
The 18th session of the JPC, which presents an opportunity to review shared goals and foster cooperation between the two nations, will close on Wednesday, 13th December 2023. Sifue Mwangala, reporting for ZANIS in Malawi.
The Electoral Commission of Zambia has registered over 32,000 new voters since the commencement of continuous voter registration in the 20 registration centers across the country. Electoral Commission of Zambia Director Electoral Operations Lloyd Katongo says assertions by the members of the public that the electoral body is conducting secret voter registration are false. Mr. Katongo was speaking in Joma at the opening of the Southern Province Election Management Training for the district electoral officers. Here are other details.
Holding free and fair elections is one of the key tenets of democracy. That is why the Electoral Commission of Zambia has continued building the capacity of electoral officers to manage elections effectively. A 5-day training dubbed Build Resources in Democracy, Government and Elections, Bridge, is being conducted for all district electoral officers across the country in different locations. For Southern Province, the 15 electoral officers have convened in Choma.
The purpose of this training is to equip you, like we have mentioned, with skills of managing various electoral activities. And these activities include introduction to electoral administration, boundary delimitation, registration of voters, electoral dispute resolutions, stakeholder engagement, and communications, among others.
In a separate interview, Mr. Katongo cleared the air on the continuous voter registration exercise ECZ is conducting in selected districts across the country.
As a commission, we would like to dispel those assertions that the Electoral Commission of Zambia is conducting a secret voter registration. If anyone has evidence, we challenge them to bring that evidence to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. But otherwise, the Electoral Commission of Zambia conducts this exercise with transparency. We started this exercise in June 2022, and this is in line with the law that obliges the Electoral Commission of Zambia to conduct continuous registration of voters. Based on that, we started in June 2022 in all the 10 provincial centers. And then in September 2023, we rolled out to additional 10 districts. And so as we speak today, we have 2 districts in each province conducting continuous registration of voters.
He also gave an update on the number of new voters registered during this exercise.
A total number of new registration as at October stands at 32,521. So everyone is fully aware. And as we speak today, the Commission has allowed those that want to observe this exercise in all the districts are free to do so.
ZANIS, in Choma, Southern Province.
The Ministry of Education has launched the validation of the 2023 Zambia Education Curriculum Framework aimed at reforming the country's education curriculum. Speaking during the launch, Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary for Education Services, Joel Kamoko, says the 2023 Curriculum Framework contains a number of progressive reforms that should be supported by all stakeholders.
These are stakeholders coming from different institutions across the country. They are here to attend the validation of the 2023 Zambia Education Curriculum Framework, which is being held in Lusaka. The aim of this workshop is to reform the Zambian curriculum. Ministry of Education Director, Curriculum Development, Dr. Charles Ndakala, gives more detail on the meeting.
We had more than 280 institutions that submitted. So we summarized the information that we got from the two, the evaluation and then the submission from the stakeholders. So arising from that, we started again having consultative meetings with regards to some of the proposals which were not clear on the way forward.
Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary, Education Services, Joe Kamoko, graced the event.
The Zambia Education Framework has been developed to provide guidance on the preferred type of education system for our nation at early childhood, primary, secondary, youth and adult literacy, and the tertiary levels. Undoubtedly, the new education curriculum framework forms the basis for the development of subject syllabi, teaching, learning materials, and indeed equipment to associate and make this come to true.
The Permanent Secretary explained some of the contents of the 2023 Zambia Education Curriculum Framework.
The 2023 curriculum has adjusted the structure of the education system from 4 to 7, 2 to 3 to 3, 6, 4, 2, implying early childhood, primary, secondary, and A levels. The primary level has been reduced from 7 years to 6, with eligibility entry also being reduced from 7 to 6 years. The secondary level has been restructured to accommodate 2 years of advanced A level. This is for us to be in tandem with the rest of the world so that our qualifications are no longer questioned.
Jane Simalumba, ZANIS, in Lusaka.
Thank you, Jen, for that report. Now, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mlenga, has employed local contractors engaged in Constituency Development Fund projects to deliver quality works. Mr. Mlenga, who is also Chingola Member of Parliament, says this will not only save public resources, but will also enable government and private investors to build trust and have confidence in the works of the local contractors. He has also expressed concern that some contractors are neglecting projects after being awarded with contracts by government, or others are doing shoddy works. Mr. Mlenga, however, said government will not stop awarding contracts to competent local contractors and has implored investors, especially the mining companies, to continue working with the local contractors and ensure that they are partnered with experts. The minister said this when he graced the 2023 Northwestern Chamber of Commerce, Trade and Business Awards, giving gala held in Solwezi district. We now move to the eastern part of the country. Chadiza District Women Development Association says over 6,700 women in the district have benefited from the input distribution over the years. Association chairperson Dori Kambewe says this year 400 new beneficiaries will be given farming inputs who will in turn pass on to others in the 2024-2025 farming season. Here are the details.
Women's empowerment can be defined as promoting women's sense of self-worth, their ability to determine their own choice, and their right to influence. This is why over 400 women this year in Chadiza district have been empowered through a pass-on initiative of farming inputs.
Tiri vantu vokwana 60,700 azimai. Ndipo azimai alubwera ndithu ufuna majoina ndithu ajoina ndithu akona kuti akhala pawo kajoina. Monga apa lomba va Swedish Embassy va ujera kwa infect anabwera utithandizira azimai pano pa Chadiza dwa. Pomwe tapeza phindu lalikulu tikuchita pasoni ndipo atipatsako mbuzi, atipatsako mbewu monga za sunflower, beans, shava. Zomwe azimai lomba tikuthandizika m'mabanja mwathu kuti tichite bwanji titukuke.
The benefits are many and beneficiaries are happy to share.
Ine mu 2021 natenga mbewu ya shava ninashanga, 2022 nakola masaga yali 7. Koma ninagulisa pane ninagulisa nagula mashini pali pano nisoka nditera.
Na dwa sinaona anzanga chitamo zinthu za phindu na ine nakumbira na tinakachitamo zinthu za phindu.
The district administration urges the Women's Association for continuity.
It's actually a very good thing to see women standing up to come and be in the forefront to get the seed. The woman understands the food security at household level. Then we can say that Chadiza is improving and it is doing fine in terms of agriculture.
Jubel Zulu, ZANIS, Chadiza District, Eastern Province.
In Lusaka Province, Shibuyunji District Commissioner Alfred Shaputu has warned beneficiaries against misuse of food security pack imports. Mr. Shaputu urged the beneficiaries to utilize the agricultural inputs responsibly and avoid selling them for personal gain. The district commissioner said this during the launch of the 2023-2024 feast distribution.
The distribution of farming inputs in Shibuyunji district under the food security pack for the 2023 farming season has officially been flagged off. Shibuyunji District Commissioner Alfred Shaputu implored beneficiaries to use the farming inputs for the intended purpose.
So please, atulime. We want to emphasize Shibuyunji, it's a district in Zambia.
And Shibuyunji Town Council Chairperson Adrian Mwanakanyemba, who was also present at the ceremony, echoed Mr. Shaputu's sentiments.
Kwamba next year tukaja negulia alimu akujala wenka mbulimbo wa panduru.
Meanwhile, Shibuyunji District Community Development Officer Chisanga Kawele had this to say.
Mkatenga mwende msebwanji mushange. Aini? Time ya sile nkwenda kutashani kushanga. Ela mukashanga. Izafika futi time yo chitabwanji yokolola. Ikafika time yokolola mukitabwanji zankala chani ma paybacks. Aini? My paybacks ni kulipila 2 bags of chani maize 50 kg aini.
One of the beneficiaries thanked government for making efforts to alleviate poverty through the food security pack program. Tina Kabamba reporting for ZANIS in Shibuyunji District, Central Province.
The National Water Supply and Sanitation Council, NASCO, has urged members of the public to apply caution this rainy season in view of recent reports of a cholera outbreak. The water sector regulator says water sanitation and hygiene interventions from the public are key in tackling waterborne diseases. Details in this report.
In October 2023, government recorded an outbreak of cholera in Lusaka. 2 months down the line, over 800 suspected cases of cholera have been documented in Lusaka, Luangwa, and Chongwe districts of Lusaka province. This has raised concern among different water sector players who fear for the sanitation and hygiene status of citizens, especially with the looming rainy season. The regulator, National Water Supply and Sanitation Council, NWASCO, for instance, has advised the public to take full precaution to protect themselves from the waterborne disease.
You are able to boil your water to at least chlorinate. We would like also to take this opportunity just to appeal also to members of the public to avoid, accessing water from shallow wells, because as you know, shallow wells, water from shallow wells is not treated. It might be contaminated. It might contain fecal matter. All manner of impurities would be in water from shallow wells. So our appeal is that please let's avoid drinking water from shallow wells, but instead drink water only from safe sources.
And the Water and Sanitation Association of Zambia, WASAZA, wants sanitation facilities in peri-urban areas to be improved. The association's chief executive officer is of the view that this will be a long-term solution to the spread of waterborne diseases.
We have a larger percentage of toilet facilities in our country, particularly in urban areas, in peri-urban areas, which are actually on-site sanitation, and these are pit latrines. And most of these pit latrines are not lined, and not only that, they are quite shallow. So when the rains start and the ground is flooded, these toilets actually are also flooded. So you can imagine what happens to surface water. So it's actually a situation that is a problem that needs quite some serious attention and serious investment to improve sanitation facilities in peri-urban areas.
Mtalakani for ZANIS News in Lusaka.
Isoka District Commissioner Jairo Simbeye has called for improved workmanship in the construction of projects in the district. Mr. Simbeye disclosed this when he visited Farmers Training Center, where one of its hostels had its roof blown. He expressed disappointment that the facility, which was rehabilitated at a cost of 2.5 million kwacha, has its roof blown off due to insufficient trestles and poor fabrication of trestles. He said the government will ensure that it will investigate further on what else caused the damage. Addressing the media, the commissioner stated that we are not pleased with the reoccurrence of such incidents, especially within a short span. It is crucial for the businesses and contractors to adopt better workmanship standards to prevent these unfortunate events. Mr. Simbeye further assured the public that government is taking the matter seriously and will work towards finding a sustainable solution to prevent similar incidents in the future.
It's really sad as a district commissioner here in Isoka that we've got a blown off behind me. I think it was blown off on Friday where we had heavy rains. It's really saddening, and we came to assess and find that there was surely poor workmanship, although it was done in 2021. We are going to follow it up, speak to our contractor that did this work. We are going to see what could have happened to have this kind of blown off. Our engineers are still assessing. We are trying to come up with the actual answers, finally, to understand exactly what could have happened. But generally, as somebody who able to understand buildings, you can see that the anchorage was not really good enough, and the welding on those traces were not done very well. Having a roof blowing off after 3 years at a cost of 2.5 million, it's heavy as government. I think no one will accept this. No one will tolerate it. We are going to find out exactly what could have happened. That's a huge amount that we're able to spend, and then after 3 years, 2 years, we're having the same issue again. And I think it's not only the building behind me, even the building behind the camera. There's some other buildings around here that were done at the same period. So if this thing can be in that state, we're expecting these other buildings to be affected as well, sooner or later.
We move to Northwestern Province. The Ministry of Tourism Permanent Secretary Evans Muhanga says government attaches great importance to securing the Zambezi River source. Mr. Muhanga said government will ensure that Zambezi source is secured through the planting of trees in order to restore its ecosystem. In Central Province, Nico Insurance Zambia has donated assorted cleaning materials to Kabwe Central Hospital to keep a clean environment at the facility. Nico Insurance Zambia Chief Finance Officer Chitende Simutongwe said the cleaning materials will help maintain a clean and safe environment at the hospital. And Kabwe Central Hospital Senior Hospital Administrator Irene Mutambo says the donation will help provide quality health care. Kelvin Tembo has the details.
Nico Insurance Zambia has donated assorted cleaning materials to Kabwe Central Hospital worth 10,000 kwacha. Nico Insurance Zambia Chief Finance Officer Chitende Silutongwe says the donation, which has been made possible through the workers' contributions, is meant to help maintain a clean and safe environment at the hospital.
The invaluable contributions of our employees were matched by our company, enabling us to provide Kabwe Central Hospital with vital cleaning agents and tools essential for their ongoing operations. We hope these supplies will assist the hospital in maintaining a clean and safe environment for patients, staff, visitors, and ultimately benefiting the broader community.
He adds that the company is determined to make a positive impact in society.
The donation includes disinfectants, sanitizers, detergent, brooms, and other essential cleaning tools, all aimed at reinforcing Kabwe Central Hospital's efforts to ensure a hygienic and safe environment, particularly amidst the ongoing healthcare challenges faced by our community. At Nico Insurance, making a positive impact on society is part of our DNA. We are dedicated to actively seeking opportunities to support and uplift the well-being of communities that we serve.
And Kabwe Central Hospital Senior Hospital Administrator Irene Mutambo says the donation will help provide quality health care.
It's striving very hard to maintain a clean environment. Like I will put it, a clean environment did really help in the healing of the patients. So your donation has come at the right time when we needed that donation. Government is appreciative of such ventures coming from the private companies who are working hand in hand with the government. So it's really a plus to our institution that you've made this donation.
Kelvin Tembo for ZANIS in Kabwe, Central Province.
And finally in the news, the Chewa Royal Establishment in Eastern Province has called for the protection of the Gule Wamkulu tradition and culture. The Chewa Royal Establishment claims that some sections of society have misconceptions about the tradition, hence the need for proper sensitization on what Gule Wamkulu stands for. The call was made during the Gule Wamkulu Festival in Katete District, which was organized by the Ministry of Tourism.
Government has placed culture and tradition on a high premium because of its important role in national development. To this effect, government is organizing cultural festivals countrywide to showcase the country's rich culture. Gule Wamkulu Festival of the Chewa people in Katete District becomes the latest to be held where various activities were performed.
Gule Wamkulu is not for violence, it's not a church. We don't worship Gule Wamkulu, but according to His Majesty, his message is that Gule Wamkulu is for entertainment. We mean well with our Gule Wamkulu. Let people not mud sling us, or let people, they shouldn't be sticking mud to our face and so forth about Gule Wamkulu.
And government says it will continue engaging traditional leaders in the socio-economic development of the country.
The UPND government attaches great importance to the issues of safeguarding of our cultural heritage and protection of intellectual property, which are very cardinal not only in our country but the world all over. The government of His Excellency the President Hakainde Hichilema, will continue to engage His Majesty and the Chewa communities for the growth of the Gulewa Mkulu Festival, to include the participation of all Chewa chiefdoms and be able to update the elements inventory annually for the purpose of safeguarding our Chewa cultural heritage.
Hope Walia, Katete District, Eastern Province.
As we end ZANIS news, we recap on the headlines once again. President Hichilema attends burial of Senseli miners. Government commences process to reform education curriculum. Youths concerned about increased climate change. Plus Chewas call for protection of Gulewa Mkulu. Thank you so much for staying with us on behalf of the entire ZANIS production team. My name is Juliet Mtela saying bye-bye.